Hey, welcome to Film Fanatics. My name is Dan.
My name is Justin.
And I'm Joe.
This week, we find out what happens when some of the heavy hitters of Marvel go up against each other in Civil War. And we've got two indies for you, Michael Shannon and Joel Edgerton in Midnight Special, and Jesse Eisenberg in Louder Than Bombs. But, of course, first up, we have to talk about Captain America Civil War. Joe, this was number one on your most anticipated list.
Well, it's worth something, I guess, when I have to actually write about it. So,
Yeah.
Prepare for the essay. This movie is based on the comic book storyline, Civil War, of course, and sticking pretty close to the general idea of the comic, but with an ending that is very different, I would say, for marketing purposes and lots of money. The whole MCU cast returns in this one, including some new additions such as Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther, which I think makes sense, certainly with some of the prestigious people that he's played in the past.
True.
Of African-American notoriety. And perhaps most notably Tom Holland as the newest Spider-Man. So, until they reboot it again.
And Hot Aunt May.
No, we're not.
Tomei as Hot Aunt May.
Sexy Aunt May, yeah.
We're not even going to talk about that. Following another supervillain battle, Scarlet Witch accidentally kills several people trying to save Cap. This brings the topic of the danger of superheroes to a whole new level, with the governments of the world demanding that the heroes must become registered as the governmental force under the UN. The heroes become divided on the issue, culminating in a battle deciding whether or not to turn over the Winter Soldier to the authorities. I wasn't totally sure what to expect on this one, but it actually handles the material better than the comic did, which is surprising, with much higher stakes. I think that's one reason it works better. It serves as very much a Captain America film, but also really feels very much like an Avengers story. And this is the first MCU film to really tackle some heavy subject matter while still retaining that comic book sense of fun, which I've been complaining about for years. Like, can we just get one that's not completely
It's always goofy.
Can give it a little more serious? So finally got some of that. And while the story is good, the best parts of me, though, still were the quips between some of the characters and some really fun fight scenes. The big surprise for me would be that Ant-Man would steal the show, and even the new Spider-Man to some extent. I do think there are some pacing issues early on, particularly when we jump from location to location constantly, which gets kind of annoying. I also wish they decided to go a bit further with the drama regarding the deaths, or lack thereof, of certain characters. It lacks the best punch that it really could have, and they take another direction to make it kind of work, but I'm like, they could have just done that. It would have been a lot easier. Still, I have to say that this shows the characters still have plenty of mileage, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, I'm most interested to hear what Justin has to say for the simple reason that I agree with you. Ant-Man is, amazing in this movie, but you and I both liked Ant-Man as a film.
True.
Justin did not. So, Justin, did the character do anything for you in this that you liked?
I'll be honest with you, gentlemen. He did more in 20 minutes than he did in his entire solo movie. Strangely enough, if anything, I was actually upset that he wasn't in for longer, which... As soon as they announced he was going to be in Civil War, I was like, are you freaking serious?
Hey, man.
But no, he rocked it and then some. I was cheering when...
Well, you knew, though, that his film existed to introduce him to the MCU. So obviously he had to be in it.
After I got done with this movie, I started thinking, some of these characters are better as side characters. I've never felt an overwhelming urge, why don't we have a Falcon one-off?
Well, Justin... You bring up an excellent point.
I do agree with that.
Because characters like the Falcon and Ant-Man don't have long-running comics that last a while because they're not as intriguing as Captain America.
But listen...
That's why they're in the Avengers.
I'm pumped for the Black Panther movie.
Good.
I am too.
I thought Boseman was excellent, and he's not in it that much either. I mean, most of these people aren't.
No, Black Panther's a great character.
But
He's cool.
I thought he was great. The accent was good.
Yeah.
I've honestly been waiting for a Black Panther appearance for literally ages. As soon as I started getting into his comics, I was wondering, why don't we have a Black Panther movie? And I think now the rest of the world is starting to agree. I still don't have any idea why Marvel is so stingy about not doing a Black Widow movie, but hey, whatevs.
I think the reason they're probably not doing that is because, well, as you know... Dark and also less epic scale. I remember these big superheroes kind of adapt themselves to these big explosions, aliens. Black Widow is about stealth and sleuth and spy stuff, which is, to this crowd, not really what we want. You'd have to almost get onto the Netflix queue.
But to get back on track, one of the big things about Civil War is there are huge stakes, and there's this huge, huge battle. And literally, people die all over the place. It was huge. The main event was one of the best comic arcs I've ever read. And it did deserve its own movie. Here's the problem, though. Given the more lighthearted and kind of entertaining aspect of the MCU, I legitimately don't think it fits, and after watching it, I still kind of don't.
Really?
Here's why. First of all, they're terrified of killing anybody off. Main reason being because they've literally...
Well, they're cash cows.
They are cash cows. But seriously, this is Civil War. People have to die. I'm sorry. If you're going to do Civil War, there have to be casualties. And if you're not willing to and if you're not willing to own up to that, you shouldn't do Civil War. There was a legitimate reason why, when they announced the next Captain America movie was going to be Civil War, the first words out of my mouth were quite literally, "What have you done?" I mean, but as a story, I think some of it works. I think it's way too long. The location hopping is beyond irritating. And they make the ridiculously dumb mistake of in a story that's all about ethics and right and wrong and trying to figure out and trying to realize that this is one gigantic gray area, they decide to tack on this random villain who, in contrast to so many MCU villains, is not very bad because evil, thank God, but
Pretty complicated.
is just so unnecessary. This should just be... There is no villain with this one. If there is a villain, it's literally Cap and Iron Man.
Hey, Justin, Baron Zemo is not a minor villain. I was very
but-
excited to see him in the movie.
No. Baron Zemo is a good villain. The problem is, I don't think he was necessary for Civil War.
He wasn't, but I thought his motivations worked.
I would have saved him for another movie.
I mean, I think he can come back. No.
I'm legitimately okay with Baron Zemo as a villain.
Probably the most complicated villain they've come up with, like you said.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is he doesn't need to be in a movie that already has tension, protagonist, antagonist as a dual role.
Well, remember though, that's kind of the Cap thing too. Is the investigation to find out what's going on. You kind of need that villain.
I don't agree. I think that's really why it becomes so long, is because we try to focus on one completely out of left field character. I think, if anything, we should have saved him for another Phase 3 chapter and tied it in that way.
I do agree it's a little unbalanced, but like I said, they're trying to make it the Cap movie and the Avengers movie, and it has.
And I think it
ups and
does too
downs.
much in that camp.
Maybe.
I don't feel like it was too long at all. This movie felt like it was 80 minutes. I mean, I thought this thing zipped by. I think this... Joe, you hit it. I think finally Marvel has a movie with some heft to it that retains the fun Marvel nature of it. I think we've been beating the drum on DC movies being, very dark and had no fun at all, for a long time. And I think Marvel is a lot of times the opposite. I think, Guardians obviously was a lot of fun.
It was.
But some of the Iron Mans and even Thor 2, they were like...
Quippy.
Yeah, they were like lopping bits at each other, And it's like, that was a story that also could have had some heft to it and kind of didn't. But I feel like this really, I think, was the best of both worlds. I think it was great to see a lot of the people together. Hulk and Thor not being there.
I can understand it in context.
I can understand it in context because it's not an Avengers movie, but like, I mean, they mention them because why wouldn't they?
Well, they have something else they're taking care of.
Yes, I know, and that's fine, but it's almost like,
damn it.
Well, it's like on a TV show where the one person's pregnant or something, so they're off for 3 episodes, and where's so and so? That part was kind of corny. I thought.
I liked it.
I know. Ant-Man was excellent.
The best part.
He pretty much was. I thought Spider-Man was cute. I mean, he was, he's fine.
I mentioned it. I'm not hating on him.
Yeah, he was okay. I don't think. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, online saying like, "Oh my God, Ant-Man and Spider-Man stole the show." Mm-hmm. Ant-Man, I can agree with. I don't think Spider-Man stole the show. He did fine.
He was entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to seeing his own movie, which we'll be getting. That's fine.
12 of them.
Hot Aunt May, I'm not into. I like Marissa Tomei just fine.
Wait a minute. I thought you were into Hot Aunt May.
No,
it's ridiculous.
I'm into Hot Sally Field Aunt May.
Wait. No, I'm confused. I thought that... Wait. For some reason, I thought you guys were okay with this.
No, I don't want Hot
weird.
Aunt May.
Okay, well, maybe... All right, well...
I know Aunt May is being like 70.
The thing that annoyed me...
And Marissa Tomei doesn't look her age either. She looks like she's friggin' 40.
I know, she's looked the same forever.
I know.
She's a beautiful woman. It's fine.
She's
But
beautiful.
this is the thing. I will harp on this because you brought it up. I was going to
Tell
avoid
me.
this, but now it has to happen.
Go on.
I'm glad you guys are on my side with this one because I talked to all my friends online, and then when I was ranting about it when I found out about the casting, like, it's fine. She can be hot. Why can't Aunt May be hot? I'm like, it's just not right. And in the movie, they freaking tease you the fact that all of us complain about it. Oh man, your aunt's so hot. Ooh, I want to, like constant. That was her whole purpose of that scene.
That was the bit.
I was like, God,
No.
we get it.
Not least of all, Tony Stark.
Why'd you do that?
Saying that.
Of course, it was Tony, so you know what's going to happen. And then Peter's going to have some half brothers.
Yes.
Iron spiders.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
That's horrifying, by the way. But
It's going to happen.
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Russian accent's back.
Horribly
It
inconsistent.
isn't back because she doesn't know how to do one.
Half.
So
No.
She dropped it. Hey, Vision though. Vision was good.
Yeah, Vision's fine. I don't have a problem with him. Justin doesn't care for him apparently, but
You don't like the sweater? You don't like the sweater? Somebody just flew inside me. Come on. That was good. That was good.
It's just very. He only shows up for a few minutes and really doesn't have all that much to do. Like, they try to give him this emotional arc, and it's not really going anywhere.
To be fair, if they gave him something to do, that battle would have been over.
It's true.
They have
It's
depowered
true.
the Vision so much, even from the last movie.
yeah, true.
I'm just gonna float around and look at stuff.
So Scarlet Witch can't get behind. She needs to improve the accent. But I love what she does. I love the whole, hand thing, and she puts up, I guess, shields or whatever it is she's doing.
Would
But
you like to know what her power actually is?
in the comics, what is it?
She alters probability.
Oh,
It's basically magic.
well, that's a little bit different.
Broad?
Well, it's very broad. They
Incredibly
at
broad.
least gave her a more specific job to do. But one of the things that this movie made me realize, and I sort of already knew it from the Iron Man movies.
He knew.
But War Machine
Don Cheadle? Yeah.
is unnecessary.
He's Iron Man.
Wildly
He's Iron Man.
unnecessary.
Like, what,
All right.
you have all of these great
Right.
people with all these great different powers. He's
Man
Iron Man light. There's no purpose to having him.
This is the reason he exists. This is why he's in the movies, okay? Because
I get why he's in the Iron Man movies.
I have an explanation.
Okay.
Okay. Look,
Tell me.
before Iron Man was Robert Downey Jr. And nobody liked him except for hardcore Iron Man fans. There was a time when Iron Man wasn't that cool. Back in the 90s,
Yeah.
you know who was the big standout?
War Machine.
War Machine. Oh,
Okay.
War Machine is awesome. He's better than Iron Man because he's bigger, he's got machine guns, and he was on the Spider-Man animated series. That's why he's there.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
only reason War Machine
But
is
he's the
significant.
same.
He's the same.
That
Same-
really bothered
Same
me.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
same man.
Yeah.
Same man.
Same Iron Man.
Same Iron Man. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I thought Martin Freeman was good. Talk about a great accent.
What about
His American accent's excellent.
Yes.
It really
The
is.
Return
Though
of
I don't
Hobo.
know how to feel about him as New Coulson, but
Well, Coulson's busy.
Yeah, true.
Stan Lee cameo.
I was just gonna say, great Stanley cameo.
As always.
Another one for the books. But yeah, all right. Well, I think we've talked it to death. Joe, what do you think?
A-.
Yeah, A- for me as well. Definitely one of the best in the MCU.
very, very mid-tier for me. B.
All right. Well, most of them are. Usually, what'd you give Guardians though? You were high on Guardians, right?
Guardians was an A-.
All right, acceptable. A little low, but it's in the range.
All right. Yeah.
In the range.
It's in the range.
All right. Well, I'm glad you liked Ant-Man better in this one at least.
Oh, yeah.
No,
no.
I don't know if I'd say he
Clearly a
did
standout.
more in this movie. He just did more for you.
Well, that's
I think-
what I
I
mean.
think-
He
I
just said
think-
he was
I was-
sad
I
that he
was
was only in
thinking
it for a little bit.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he did quite a bit in his own movie. You know, he did stuff.
No, I'm saying he was more
Yeah, that's not what he
effectively
said.
used.
I just thought it was a funny phrase.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely did more.
All right. Well, Justin, let's hear about Midnight Special.
Michael Shannon plays Roy, a man on the run from both the government and a cult, with his son Alton, played by Jaden Lieberher, who has mysterious abilities. As their journey progresses, Alton learns more about who he is and where he ultimately must go before both parties manage to catch up to them. Kirsten Dunst, Joel Edgerton, and Adam Driver have supporting roles. I'm glad I hit this one fairly early on before when we started tackling the docket, because there was a lot to reflect on this movie, particularly with the matter of knowledge. So, this is a very need-to-know basis kind of movie. Don't expect a whole lot of answers, expect a whole lot of questions, of the Lost variety, where it will intrigue and infuriate you at the exact same time.
It's pretty good.
And because of that, I really do have to admire the originality, and they stretched the reasonably independent budget fairly well. There's a couple moments particularly with the whole goggles flashing thing that feels very independent, low budget.
I
But
thought the effects looked all right though.
no. The effects were
Yeah.
surprisingly good for an independent film.
I thought so too, yeah.
But it came together nicely. The tension definitely works. It's a little bit of a slow burn at times, but what I really was impressed by was Michael Shannon who's obviously done over the top in quite a few movies, most notably Man of Steel for me, but he's a lot more contained in this, and I thought it gave us a lot more context to his character. I thought his arc was really cool. The problem is the ending, I think, is going to be extremely divisive and leaves us with even more questions to be answered. But where do you guys stand on it?
I just saw it today. It was the last movie I watched.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree that reflection is probably the name of the game for this movie. Maybe I'll have a different take on it in a week's time, but...
All right. I'm curious to see what the thoughts are, so I'll go next. Definitely saw what people were saying when it's kind of... I don't know. I like these movies that are echoing older directors and older styles.
Yeah, I agree.
This is definitely Spielbergian. But...
Yeah, I like Spielbergian. Spielberg. I don't know if it quite works, but I like what you're trying to do. Yeah, but you're right. A lot of those movies that are echoing Carpenter, this is definitely echoing Spielberg. And you said it's slow burn, but it is a lot like Close Encounters. Like kind of... It's just kind of...
I mean, Close Encounters is like the slow burn, Tyndall slow burn, so...
It is, but it is kind of echoing that. There is atmosphere, there's a lot of questions, there's some big ideas, but, there's some really strong performances. And I will say, I think Shannon does a very good job. And you guys often make fun of him because he, does all these...
I don't care for him.
Well, you need to watch Boardwalk
Typically.
Empire. You always...
I guess that's true.
You do. I mean, Buscemi will kind of reel you in, you'll stay for Shannon. It's not true, you'll stay for Buscemi, but he's not just totally over the top.
No.
He's a good actor. I think he's decent. And I thought The Boy was great. I thought he was really enjoyable young actor.
Yeah, I agree.
Really
We've
good.
seen him in a few movies now.
St.
Aloha
Vincent.
was useless, but St. Vincent he was great in.
St. Vincent was good. He just doesn't look like he's aged that much since then. I don't know.
Not
He's
really,
still very
but-
small. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
is.
he
He's
does
little.
his job and does it well, so I mean, can't really complain.
Also, obviously, some homages to comic book ideas like that. There's kind of a little
Yeah.
play there. Was cool. Edgerton, needs just more love as well.
Edgerton's great.
He's very good. I thought, Dunst, don't typically like her that much, but she was pretty decent in this, I'd say, right?
Yeah,
She was pretty good.
I'd say she gave a better performance than the typical Dunst.
I think so.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, she's not one of my favorites.
Driver, I don't typically like that much, but he was decent in this too.
I just saw, by the way, last night I saw the episode of Driver hosting SNL. So to see him in this right after he was doing all this goofy stuff was definitely interesting. I thought he was fine in this.
I mean, it's not his typical hipster shtick.
Yeah, he's definitely going for something different here, which I appreciated.
It's like he can do big sci-fi and he can do lesser sci-fi. It's
True.
So yeah, it's a very
To a
different.
fault. To a fault.
So he's heading one direction. But no, I thought definitely, probably could have fleshed things out a little bit more. Definitely wanted me to, get some more answers. But I thought for what it was was an interesting ride. Pretty enjoyable.
I mean, from Nichols, who has given us much more these hardcore dramas, different change of pace, but I liked it. It didn't really compromise his general directing act.
What has he done previously?
Mud.
Oh, well, I love that movie.
Definitely pretty detailed in scope.
And Sam Shepard had a bit role in this as well. True. Classic Mud. No, I agree. I mean, with pretty much everything, I think that I kind of liked that we didn't get a lot of answers. I liked that there was sort of a good build-up. It does remind me a lot of some of these movies we've seen recently, like The Gift, another Edgerton classic.
Oh, that's good.
And certain other ones where I didn't know exactly what was happening for a while, and I was intrigued to find out. I do think we don't necessarily find out everything, but
Not quite, no.
but I think we find out enough.
Find out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think we find out more than a little bit, but I thought the performance with Shannon was okay. Shannon has these two modes. He's got the way over the top,
And then 99 Homes.
and then he's got 99 Homes, and
That's about
nope.
Yeah.
I mean, this was closer to a 99 Homes than it was to the way over the top, I would
Yeah.
say.
it. What would you
I'd
prefer?
say this is more contained than 99 Homes, but
Well, yeah, but 99 Homes, he was a crazy person.
pure evil, yes.
So, I mean, that made sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think he necessarily played that one specifically over the top.
Well, no.
Night Before he was good.
I did like him.
That was sort of an in between.
I thought he was great.
Performance.
That's true.
There you go.
He was all right here. I didn't dislike him, but Edgerton, I think, is the more competent actor. So, when it's scenes with the two of them. But I did think the special effects were cool. The stuff where he takes his goggles off, I thought was very well done.
Yeah.
In those particular instances. I don't know what the budget was on this, but I'm sure it wasn't large, like you said, Justin.
No, and you can definitely tell. Like,
Yeah.
they probably spent more on the finale of this movie than they did in, like, the build up to it.
Yeah, probably.
Truth.
Yeah.
Joe, what'd you think?
I thought it was a B+.
All right. I'm actually with you. B+.
No question here.
All right.
Wow.
Well, finally, we've got another indie, and that is Louder Than Bombs. This takes place 3 years after the fatal car crash of wife and mother Isabel Reed, and a photo exhibition of some of her work is about to come to light, which brings a fractured family back together, including her son Jonah, who left for a career and family, played by Jesse Eisenberg, her son Conrad, who's still in high school and very estranged from his father, played by Devin Druid, and that father, who is having an affair with one of Conrad's teachers, played by Gabriel Byrne, and the teacher by Amy Ryan. Now, I thought this movie was very realistic. I liked the drama and the tension between the characters. I thought Eisenberg was giving one of his good Eisenberg performances.
Not Luther?
Lex Luthor. No. Whenever he says Luthor, I think of Elba. Idris Elba, yeah.
That's funny.
No, not Lex Luthor and not
Jesse Eisenberg.
Well, not as quippy. This was a solid dramatic performance from him.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was good. I thought this mother that was killed, she was a wartime photojournalist, dangerous, kind of thing. So they had these backdrops from scene to scene with her photos, and
I like those.
I did too. I thought the metaphor was a little pretentious, but I liked it. It wasn't. It didn't detract though for me. Obviously, it did for Justin. He'll get to that as his groan implies, but. Also, a bit pretentious was Conrad's inner monologue.
I don't know what you mean.
From time to time. But see, these things were okay for me. They didn't really detract. I get that they're a little pretentious, but I thought, on the whole, I thought they worked with the characters and with the film. However, there is a maybe 10-minute scene towards the end about Conrad and this girl that he wants. And I get the purpose it serves, but to me it didn't really gel with the rest of the film in tone. I thought it was very much at its strongest when they were doing the family dynamic stuff, and the girl was sort of off of that a little bit. So I knock it down a bit for that, but I thought this was pretty enjoyable. Justin, you're grown about the pretension. Would you like to add on to that?
I mean, I guess when I'm groaning about pretension, we should be expecting something along the lines of Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, and that's just not true.
Which show and I liked.
I did enjoy that one.
I mean, the kid is definitely angsty, but it's okay, this is a story about loss. The problem for me with this movie is we essentially have two movies in one. One is a story about, one is basically this family drama, one is about this kid. And they don't even remotely gel well.
I could agree with that.
They bounce between one and the other throughout the feature. The photo scenes and the red camera stuff, awesome. Pretentious, little bit. But
it was.
But
I thought it looked good.
No. It was very good to look at. I mean, very well shot, absolutely beautiful to look at. But definitely a little bit on the pretentious side. Sort of like the director being like, look what I can do. Very nice. Let's get back to the movie.
Yeah, we got the metaphor. I mean,
Yes.
It's fine. But, I thought they were so striking that it didn't take away.
No. I mean, it's a story about a photographer. You gotta at least have a little bit about image.
Thematically,
but
for sure.
For me, just that constant back and forth between the two. Eisenberg's character, I really, really liked, but he's in it so minimally that we'll have moments where he's there, and then when he's not there.
And I didn't like the storyline about the other woman either. I don't think that added anything to the
or the whole
stuff.
video game subplot, which is beyond hacked on. But
Yeah,
I mean, that's what a kid does. That didn't bother me.
But I feel like they were trying to go with the whole reign over me, Shadow of the Colossus metaphor, and it doesn't even remotely work. But for this one, the two have their moments. The whole thing with the girl, I mean, they foreshadowed it, so I didn't entirely hate it. And I like the way it resolved. It was very kind of indie thing to do, but it it for the most part worked.
There was.
But for me, it was just that clash that really sunk it down.
So, Joe, you felt that too, the clash?
Well, I thought that there were a couple of plot lines that they're trying to do. I felt like they were just trying to tackle so many stories at once that a lot of them weren't fleshed out. I mean, the main story with the family is very solid, which I think really is very good and kept me interested.
Yeah, the drama in that aspect is
But
great.
you're bouncing around so much, like even Eisenberg, you kind of miss him. And I'll say this, one thing that just blew me away about this movie is that, I'm still seething about the whole Batman versus Superman thing. Seriously, it's horrible in that. But in this movie, he gives one of his best performances because he's not being Jesse Eisenberg.
No.
He's really down to earth.
He's just being another. He's being another person. He's not an actor. He's not being a version of himself doing a Seth Rogen type.
Oh no!
Right.
And that's really good. He plays this really interesting character, and there is this strong realism. And it reminded me a little bit of August Osage County, where you have this.
I'm
this
thinking a little bit more like End of the Tour myself, but
End of the Tour is an example, but kind of like there's this person that's passed away that has had an effect on everybody, and we have the idea of the person, but not so much them there, physically. So they're dealing with that loss and everybody's reaction to it afterwards. It seemed very believable, but it's just a lot of it isn't focused on, and that did drag it down considerably for me.
Yeah.
Like the part with the girl, I thought was it's okay.
That was my least favorite scene in the whole movie.
It's just I don't know what this really has to do with anything.
Right.
And it detracts a lot from himself. So there's really good stuff in there, but I don't think there's enough to really make it great.
Yeah, I agree. It's not great, but I do think the dramatic moments that it gets right, I think it gets super right.
I agree. I really agree.
Yeah, I wish there were more of them.
It's very limited though at the end of the day.
I mean, I don't think that it was necessarily as much of a clash as you guys felt, just because I think the main focus of the story was the kid.
Yeah.
So the other parts did make sense. I just thought the most compelling aspect was him and his father, him and Eisenberg, him and the teacher.
But here's the thing: we start off with Jesse Eisenberg's character, and then he slowly devolves into a side character.
Well, in that opening scene, yes, we do. But I mean, there's tons of movies where we start out with one character that's not the center of the movie.
True.
Fair point.
So, I mean, that didn't really bother me. I mean, I did miss that because, like we were saying, I think Eisenberg gives a great performance, and
Indeed,
I wanted to see more of his character. But I think we see a ton of movies where the opening scene person is not necessarily the main focus of the movie.
A lot of the time.
Yeah. So that didn't really bother me. But, all right, Joe, what did you think, grade-wise?
I thought it was a solid drama for the most part. I give it a B.
Okay. Yeah, it's a straight B for me as well.
and I leave it with a C.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that will do it for this week's show. Joe, tons of new things on the Merlin channel.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know there was a Starship Troopers anime, so I watched that over the weekend.
Oh, wow.
Did a review about it, so that kind of blew my mind.
Interesting.
That's not an update, right? That's the one from the 80s.
Yeah, that's the old one. I didn't know about it at all. It totally eluded me and weird. So, yeah, if you like Starship Troopers, check that out. And because I know you didn't like the movie too much, Dan, but
really didn't.
But you might like the anime more because it's a lot more like the book, which is more serious. And
Okay.
It's bizarre.
The movie was campy.
It's very different from the novel.
Unintentionally so, but
Intentionally,
fair for
but
another day.
just like a night and day. So I was just so yeah, there was that, and we're doing some more movie reviews probably. I think
Well, Apocalypse
Turtles.
will be coming out.
Apocalypse, Turtles, Independence Day. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get some
Big
people
summer
together.
for your channel for sure.
Yeah, one of the biggest.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, and you can subscribe to our channel as well, and we have our Star Trek reviews here every week too, in addition to the normal shows and all our minisodes. And you can join the Facebook group at Film Fanatics with an exclamation point, and the Twitter feed you can follow us on at Film Fanatics Pod. That's going to do it for this week, and we'll see you back here next time. Thanks for listening. Hail Hydra!